Welcome to the ECL Elite Playoffs. I am Tegan. It's King Lime Blair. He is Brandon B. Major Bigsby. And Brandon, we have some great hockey ahead of us tonight.
Oh boy, Dewey, it is that time of the season. We're in the playoffs, we're past the quarterfinals, and now we move on to the semifinals. Four of the best teams in all of Europe face off against each other right here. And we're going to see both of those matchups here tonight, Tegan. And man, oh man, I can't wait to sit here and call it with you.
They are going to be great matchups. First things first, we're going to go ahead with Granit Gaming going against hREDS. We know hREDS so well. They're going to be going against 7 seed Granit Gaming. We'll talk a little bit about that as we carry on, and then we're going to have the depth in Frölunda take on Farstad BK and Brandon. Both of these series are going to start off heavy.
Yeah, that's going to be a really fun one. And what's interesting with that Färjestad and Frölunda series is that is a semifinals rematch from last season where Frölunda, formerly Philadelphia, swept Färjestad. So that's going to be interesting to watch those two match up. But hREDS and Granit, that's going to be a lot of fun in its own right. Granit having that upset over Salo last week. hREDS looking to defend that championship crown. That's going to be really interesting because Granit, a team that no one wants to be seeing right now with how they've been playing.
Yeah, let's have a look at our playoff bracket so we can talk a little bit about what Granit Gaming did, Brandon, is they had taken out exactly what you said, Sawu Esports, and now they're going against hREDS, which you also mentioned are the previous champions. But, you know, if you're going to get to the finals, you got to get through the best, and they're having to claw their way through being that 7th seed, Brando.
Yeah, you know what they say, Tegan, you have to beat the best to be the best, and we're going to see Granit attempt to do that right here in front of our very eyes. And it's interesting with that Sawo series, every single one of those games ended by a 1-goal difference, so we could easily be talking about a completely different matchup. But granted, they've shown that ability to beat a good team in close games, and we know how hREDS is in those same scenarios. They are so good at just showing up at those big moments, coming up with those plays right when they need them to, and being able to have that ability to win those 1-goal games that can really go one way or another. Granted, obviously showing that ability last week, they're going to have to do it again and against a completely different beast of the defending champs.
And they are a great team at that in hREDS. And then if you do get through, you're going on to Frölunda or FBK, which is just as good. So any hockey that we get from here on out, Brandon, is going to be absolutely phenomenal. So let's go over and have a look at the first matchup that we are going to be touching on, which is going to be hREDS and Granit Gaming here, Brandon.
Yeah, and you can see there, the playoff stats now, regular season means little to nothing anymore. It's all about what you have done last week on, and as you can see, hREDS won their series in a sweep, but that series a lot closer than what that might indicate there with that 4-0. Goons was a really tough squad. One game going to multiple overtimes for hREDS to clinch that, so that could easily have been 4-2, and then for Granit, obviously, 4-1-1. They won that series 4-2, but I think what's really interesting is the goals for. The same amount goals for scored, even though hREDS did play 2 less games. It just goes to show you how good they are being able to put the puck in the net. Granted, we're going to have a tough time against that hREDS offense. Going to have to show up big defensively.
Exactly right. 4 games played, 11 goals for hREDS. Where Granit Gaming sitting at the 6 mark with 11. But how about that penalty kill in those 6 games for Granit Gaming, Brandon? When you think of playoffs, you think of special teams. And when you see 100% on the PK, you have to be smiling if you're wearing that crown for Granit Gaming.
Yeah, and that is absolutely huge, especially against a team like hREDS where you can't really afford to give them many opportunities. So for them to have been perfect on the PK last week against a team in Sawo that was rather respectable on the power play all season long, that could be really, really big, especially against an hREDS power play that was 3rd in the league in the regular season. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch to see how special teams kind of affects this game and the series.
Yeah, let's have a look over at the lineups, Brandon, for our respective teams. And there you have on the left side of your screen, Granit Gaming. On the right side of your screen, you have hREDS. Granit Gaming coming out with Zuvi at center. Ekin on the left-hand side. Antonio Mannin on the right wing with Furion and Leia Menin on the point with Roysto in between the pipes. We've seen these guys lots on Granit Gaming, and they have a tough challenge on the right-hand side of your screen with hREDS, Brandon.
Yeah, the usual suspects of the defending champs of hREDS, Villapoica, Benito, and Nikki Dangles at that star-studded forward trio, and then Domi and King of Apes on the back end, and obviously none other than FaZe between the pipes in net. And I think you said it best, Teagan. Granted, gonna have their hands full, but honestly, I think this is gonna be a really close series. These two lineups, a lot of skill in between them, so I'm not saying that Granit's going to pull off the upset, but I think they have a chance here. This is a really good lineup on the left side that maybe not everyone that is maybe more of the casual ECL Elite fan is familiar with, but let me tell you, Granit, a really good team, a lot of talent, definitely pushing to be one of those upper echelon teams in Europe.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the winger matchups as we get head-to-head, but we're going to take a look at our centers first, as we're going to have Zuvi head-to-head against Benito.
Yeah, and that's a tough challenge on the other side anytime you're facing Benito. But Zuvi, a solid season in his own right, and that continued last week in the playoffs. You saw he had 5 points, 2 of them being goals, 3 of them being assists. But something that really stood out to me is that he had 23 goals for this Granite team in the regular season. That led them, and he had 8 of them in game-winning goal situations. So he's a guy that not only knows how to score, but he scores in big-time moments. So if we get to a point where we're tied with about 5 minutes left or going to an overtime, he could be a guy that you circle in that game as somebody that could step up and come up with that big goal for Granite.
And how about that face-off percentage there, Brandon? Is only a 0.5% separating these two gentlemen.
Yeah, nearly split right down the middle, and that always leads for interesting things because face-offs, it's one of those things that kind of goes under the radar, but that can be a spark between a big play on your own end and getting something to where the opposition can capitalize and score, or if you win that face-off, you can go on the other end, get a breakout, and score as well. So those face-offs, maybe not something that's as highly touted as it could be, but it can lead to a few goals here and there. Everything in a playoff series like this makes a difference. That's something to very much look out for.
Yes, sir. As we move on to the winger matchups, Brando, I've been excited to take these out.
Yeah.
It's Ekin, Antonio Mannin, Villapoica, Nikki Dangles, and these gentlemen are going to be going head-to-head tonight.
Yeah, and I'm with you, Line. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Ekin and Antonio Mannin, two guys that have played well together for a long time versus Villapoica and Nikki Dangles, where I think it's pretty self-explanatory, the talent that they have and the chemistry that they have together. And what's fun about this matchup is that really you get a little bit of everything with these guys. You get a little bit of goal-scoring punch, you get a little bit of playmaking, and that's what makes this so fun, is that you get two wingers that can do both, and they're both elite at it, and you get that with two sides. So not just for one side, but all 4 wingers in this matchup really know how to put the puck in the net, but to also help set their teammates up for success as well. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. The wingers could potentially be where this series is won or lost in terms of who steps up offensively. Not often you may say that, but this could be one of those series where that does happen.
I'm very excited to see Ekin on that left wing and Nikki Dangles on that right wing. 15 shots for Ekin, 14 shots for Nikki Dangles. Ekin likes to lay the body a little bit more, but I've watched Nikki Dangles play a few times, and he is very, very nice on the sticks, Brandon.
Yeah, Nikki Dangles, one of the most skilled players in all of EU, and he shows why each and every time. You can always expect that one out all of a sudden just trick play almost, to where it's just he's making one move and all of a sudden it just turns into a flashy play and he makes it look simple. And those are the plays that are always so fun because it's not just to be flashy, it's not just to be pretty, but there is an IQ level to that. If you see a player like Nikki Dangles make a certain move, there is definitely a reason behind it and intent behind it. It just makes it a little more special when you add in that skill factor in there. So this is going to be a lot of fun to watch because all four of these wingers have that ability. Their names are going to be called a lot, Tegan, and I cannot wait to hear it.
We're going to have to go over and check out the gentlemen that are going to try and shut down these amazing wingers on either side. And we have Furion and Lea Menez, who has amazing hair. I've seen this guy before. Love it. And then Domi and King of Apes on the right-hand side, Brandon.
Yeah, our two cover athletes for this season in Furion and Lea Menez, and it's interesting with them because remember, they came over from Fediestad last season in the transfer, or this season rather, and they have been a big difference maker for this Granit team. They have controlled things on the back end all season long, and it is really a big reason they were able to pull off that upset over Sawo last week. Never allowed more than 3 goals in any game and never allowed more than 2 in regulation. So the defense has been huge for Granit. It has led to the good offense that we talked about earlier. Those two are going to have their hands full, but I expect them to step up big time. And Domi and King of Apes, arguably the best defensive pair in all of VU, or maybe all of NHL esports, they will be added once again, and I expect nothing less from them from the elite play that they usually have. But we spent a lot of time talking about those forwards line. Granted, a really, really dangerous side. You know, Domi and King of Apes really going to expect a lot of themselves, and they're going to need every single bit of it against a Granit side that can put the puck in the net well.
Yeah, and on the right-hand side of your screen, on the hREDS defenders and Domi and King of Apes, it's more of an offensive side of things with a touch of defense, Brandon, where if you go over to Granit Gaming, it's more of, look at those blocked shots. It's defense first and offense after. Watch for King of Apes to get into the play, to get activated, and take that slap shot from the high slot as he creeps in, as he likes to do, Brandon.
Yeah, and that's something that we've seen hREDS do really a lot, especially in NHL 22. They have that chemistry and that cohesion to where if a defenseman goes up, there's not a doubt in the mind that one of the wingers or the center are going to come back and cover. So some of that offensive skill that you see from guys like Domi or King of Apes especially, that will come out to play because they have that ability to do that. King of Apes can push up in the play, make something happen. He has that ability to where not only can he set up a teammate, but he can score a little bit himself. He did have 7 goals in the regular season. That was tied for 6th most of all defensemen in the ECL Elite Division. So you cannot sleep on him. He will step up, make a play, and every now and then he'll put the puck in the net past the goalie.
And speaking of goalies, we have our very exciting matchup between the pipes. We have 2 amazing matchups between the pipes tonight. I can't wait to show you. But first, we have this one here where we have Roysto going head-to-head against FaZe.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to watch because as you can see, Roysto dominant last week versus Sawo. 85.2 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average. The stats do not get much better than that if you are a goalie. Well, FaZe last week, maybe not the usual save percentage that you would ideally see from him. We always talk about it, Tegan, that 80% mark being that ideal spot where you want to land. You want to land at 80% or better. FaZe a little bit under that this time, so a little under expectation maybe for him, especially compared to the regular season where he had 83.26%. But he is a guy that can come up with big saves and honestly steal hREDS a game. A good defense can only be so good without a good goalie behind them to be able to rely on when needed. FaZe has won championships, has had a big reason for winning hREDS championships. He is going to be big against Granit Gaming today, and I expect that save percentage to definitely rise a good bit after the series.
Yeah, both of these teams can look back behind them, and once you get deeper into the playoffs, Brandon, you have to rely on your goaltender to maybe not make a huge save, but just be in the right position, as one goal can flip things so fast.
Yeah, and I think that is the big thing about that too, is that it's not necessarily all about that one game-changing save, but how consistent can you be? That's so big against these high-quality teams, and Granit being one of those teams, how consistent can you be? How often can you make those saves, and can you make the saves, not the ones that you aren't expected to make where you pull off that big save all of a sudden like you said, but can you make the saves that you need to kind of mitigate some of those opportunities? Obviously the defense gonna do what they can to not give as many opportunities to the opposition, but whether it's hREDS or Granit, you're gonna see some of those chances come at you, and you're gonna be expected to save the ones that you're supposed to. If you can make those saves on a consistent basis, chances are you're gonna be one of the better goalies in this league, and both of these teams have that here today.
Yeah, both teams have the forwards, the defense, the goaltending. They have everything they need to be a championship team here, Brandon. But Granite Gaming, I think, has a little bit of a hill to climb against an hREDS team who is proven.
Yeah, but that also maybe means a little bit of a chip on their shoulder as well. I think that you can probably say hREDS the favorites in this series for sure. They're the defending champions. They're the 1 seed. They've been dominant really all season long. And Granit, on the other hand, a 7 seed, were kind of a fringe playoff team that he saw coming in. I don't think a lot of people had them beating Salo last week at the 2 seed. Don't believe many people having them beating hREDS this week. This is a team that is pretty sneaky. They have a lot of skill, especially on that back end and in the goaltending. That is what you need if you were going to beat an upper echelon team like hREDS that they face today. I think Granit can do this thing if they play the way that they are capable of playing.
Yeah, I would totally agree. We've seen them quite a few times recently, Brandon, and every single time we've seen them, they've been very, very good, from their defense out, right from their goaltender out, so to speak. And they just never give up. Granite Gaming dives themselves in and they go right to the end. And I think that is what separates them from a team that maybe is just going to come in and try and score a goal, where you have guys taking it to the corner at the end to win hockey games, and that is Granite Gaming.
Yeah, they are all gas, no brakes, to say the least, and that's what makes Granit a lot of fun to watch, because I think you said that really well, Tegan. A lot of teams can kind of play more of that conservative play style once they get in a certain situations. You get into a 2-goal lead, you'll see a lot of teams kind of pull back a little bit. Granit, they take the opposite approach. They're going to be aggressive all 60 minutes and then some. They are not going to take their foot off of the throttle, and they're going to keep going really no matter what the score is. And you combine that with that defense, with that goaltending, that's really dangerous to go up against, and it's not a lot of fun, especially when you're trying to come from behind.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not fun at all. So it looks like our teams have got themselves together, ready to go. Looking out the player loadouts, Brandon, is a little bit of studying done before the game here.
This is always fun to me, and I actually really enjoy seeing these different loadouts, because obviously adding in the X factors and the builds the way that they are changing this year, it's always interesting to see what goes into a build. How does that kind of complement a player's play style? Does it go more into the meta, so to speak, of the game? It's always so intriguing to see how players do their builds and how they kind of customize them to their own needs.
As there's our player cams, as you see the guys getting themselves ready to go. Granite Gaming, there they are, as we've got our, I swear Lehamens looks the exact same every time. He's excited, ready to go. All of these guys pumped up, Brandon.
Yeah, he's looking sharp to say the least. You would have thought he was the birthday boy in the stream, but as you can see, your defending champs right there in hREDS, ready to go and locked in as ever. This is also fun. You kind of get that personal touch, getting a look at how players react to certain plays, how they're kind of looking at the game. This is always so entertaining to see. This is going to be a lot of fun, Tegan. Granted, trying to prove something. hREDS trying to stay at the top of the hill. This is going to be really entertaining. I know hREDS won both regular season games 4-1, but Granit, they have something to prove. They are a hot team right now. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to call it with you.
You got Nicky Dangles ready on his 2 monitors. He's studying on one. He's got the game on the other, Brandon. And you know what? When you get this deep into the playoffs and there's so much on the line, you really just don't have anything to lose at this point, do you? You research as much as you can, look into everything. You don't want to skip over anything or miss anything that can put you into that final scenario.
Yeah, you think we do research before we do these broadcasts? Well, imagine what these 12 players on your screen have done. I know a lot of these guys, they know how much this means. They want to get the bigger chunk of that prize pool. They want to go on and win themselves a championship and hold that trophy over their heads. These guys have gone back and watched not only games against each other, but games against other teams that are recent. They want to see what they are doing better, what they can do better, and what their other opposition can maybe have exploited against them. There's a lot of strategy, a lot of study that goes into it, especially when two top teams like this face off against one another.
Yeah, and here is the ECL 22 Elite prize pool in front of you, Brandon, and those are some large numbers.
Yeah, that's a lot of zeros to say the least, and obviously both of these two teams hoping to get towards that 6,000, 2,500 mark if they can win this series here in the next few days, but that's a lot of money, Lime. I mean, you know these guys, they want their chunk of that to say the least, and they don't want the smaller bit of the pie, let me tell you that.
And Brando, that is euros as well. So across the pond over here, that's probably cut that in half for dollar, or sorry, double it for dollars. So, but yeah, 22,000 euros is what these guys are competing for with a 33,000 euro prize pool. Everybody wants to get themselves into that #1 spot, Brandon.
Yeah, and you can't blame them. Like we said, it's a lot of euros on the line. That's a lot of currency on the line. And like we said, even money aside, you want to be #1 when you're competing at this level. You don't want to settle for 2, 3, or 4. You want to be the champions. You want to be at the top of the mountain. We know that teams like hREDS and Frölunda know how to do that. A team like Granit, they've not been at that spot before, especially at the ECL Elite level. How big for them would that be to take out a team like hREDS, get to that #1 spot, win it all? Same for Fediestad, who we'll see a little bit later on the night. They want that #1 spot, not just for the money, but to be champions, to be #1, and to be considered the best in all of Europe.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Is the money is one thing, but when you're playing a video game where this all generated from beating your friends and bragging to your friends, and that's where this all started, and it has carried on into something just so amazing here at Sports Gamer GG, Brandon. But it's really good for bragging rights when you're playing against buddies on the other side.
Yeah, and that's what always makes this so fun, especially in the NHL community. You see it a little bit in NA, but you see it a lot in EU as well. A lot of these guys are familiar with each other, some of them being previous teammates, playing each other a fair amount of times in the past. These guys know each other. There's a bit of a camaraderie in this community, and when you're able to kind of send that DM afterwards, say, hey, good series, but we got the best of you tonight. It's a different feeling to that. The money is one thing, but these guys have a lot of pride as well. They have a lot that they like to say, and they want to be considered the better team, the better players at the end of the day. That is big for them. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch because one of these two teams is going to take a step forward to doing that here in this series. And it all starts right here with Game 1, Tegan.
It all starts right here. Granit Gaming, hREDS. It is the top 4 teams. And we are getting started with games 1 and 2, Brandon. And I can't wait for this one to get underway.
Also, can we comment on the little light show that we got there pregame? That was a nice little touch.
As the puck's over on the left-hand side. Ekin has the puck stolen, and here goes Benito. Benito up to Nicky Dangles. As that puck is going to be sent all the way down, and no icing on the play. Is Granit Gaming, Brandon, doing a very good job to get in the way of that.
And plays like that are what they're going to have to continue to do. Cannot give hREDS anything in this series if they want to try to pull the upset off.
Puck is going to be just offside there, Brandon. 17-18 to go here in the first period, and both teams moving very well.
Yeah, and a lot of times you kind of expect that feeling out period the first few minutes or even in the whole first period in a game in a series like this, but Granit and hREDS, they're not stopping. They're going full throttle from the start. Wouldn't be shocked if we see the goal here in the first 10 minutes.
Puck is going to be brought in by Villapoica. Good job by Lemenen to take the puck back, and he brings it out for Granit Gaming. Over to the right-hand side to Ekin. He fires that one. It's steered away by FaZe. Puck pops out at the point. And Ekin just slaps that back in for Granit Gaming, and here comes hREDS. The red machine moves through the middle of the ice, and here they come. Brock's brought in the right-hand side. They go back to the point. Move to the left, and it's in front with a shot on that ends up going off the post. But a first save from Royce, though, as both goaltenders feeling the puck early here, Brendo.
Yeah, and that's key, especially with two teams like this that can score well. We talked about how Roysto and FaZe know how to make those saves that they're supposed to make. Both have been tested early, and both have passed so far.
Puck is moved around by Granit Gaming. And they're just going to reset that out of their own zone. Puck, the good defense there by hREDS, Brandon, as they stop Granit Gaming from entering the zone and turn around and go up the right-hand side. That puck's going to be picked off and over to the left-hand side to Ekin. Ekin, good find to Zuvi, and he's hit hard by hREDS defender there, Brandon.
Yeah, that was definitely a big hit. Unfortunately for hREDS, is going to result in a 2-minute penalty for charging. But now we get to talk about that special teams like we did earlier. We said that that could be a big turning point in the series for both of these teams. We get our first look at it now with Granit being on the power play.
Puck is going to be dumped all the way down and brought out by Granit. Granit tries to feed it in, and they dump it, and it's all the way around. Picked up by hREDS. They go up the left-hand side and send it all the way down. That's a good penalty kill start here, Brandon.
Yeah, that's exactly what hREDS needed. We'll see if they can keep this going. They've been solid, though, defensively all game long to start out. It's continued on the PK.
Domi backs that one out, and here's Furion for Granit Gaming. He dumps it in right-hand side. This one's going to be offside.
Yeah, and I know Granit not necessarily thrilled with how this power play has gone. Haven't had a shot on net, haven't had a lot of zone time, but you have to credit the defense of hREDS. It's been solid all game, like we've mentioned. The PK has been phenomenal. We'll see if Granit can break in the zone and get something going, but so far, just no room for them to get anything going.
Puck's dumped in as Granit Gaming, and that's exactly what hREDS does. They just throw it out to the neutral zone. Here comes Furion. Tried to drop that one into the middle, but hREDS does a good job. Nicky Dangles, Villapoika back to Nicky Dangles. Drops that puck to King of Apes as he activates in the point, but it's going to be steered away by Granit Gaming. Furion carries the puck out for Granit over to Lemenen. Good poke by Lemenen. He sends that one ahead to Ekin. Ekin looks back, but unfortunately, there was nobody there to collect that as Zuvi was covering at the point. Here's Ekin over on the right-hand side to Antonio Mann, and he just dumps that one in, and King of Apes gets it to his partner Domi. Back to King of Apes. Back to Domi. Back to King of Apes. They love to work together here, Brandon. It's impressive to see, isn't it?
Yeah, these two have a lot of chemistry. We talked about that earlier, and hREDS does such a good job of implementing that back end on their offensive attack. You saw a quick look at it right there.
Villapoika fires one on, and that's saved by Roysto, and we're now going to see hREDS go to the power play.
That perfect penalty kill of the playoffs of Granit will be tested for the first time in this series, and hREDS will hope to have a little bit more success than Granit had on their power play. We'll see if they can get things going. I'm not a jinx things when I said that this would maybe start out with the scoring earlier. Defense has been imperative so far through this first period and all over the ice for both teams.
Puck back at the point. Good puck movement there as it goes out and over the glass.
Little rocket puck deflection there to say the least, but we'll see if hREDS can break this thing open. 2:53 to go. It feels like neither team's really been able to establish the offensive zone. Granit wasn't able to do so on their power play. We'll see if hREDS can maybe do the opposite and get something in on theirs.
Puck at the point, D for hREDS as they move the puck around. Villapoika on the right-hand side. Over, and they score!
And I believe that was King of Apes to put that one in. We talked about it earlier, Teague, and he's a guy that not just is able to play defense well and help his teammates on the breakout well, but he can score with the best of them too. He does so right there on what was an absolute bomb of a slap shot from the point, and hREDS capitalize on their power play, breaking up that perfect penalty kill of Granit to go up 1-0.
And did we expect anything less, Brandon, as we see a goal from the point as here's Domi activating again. Domi down low to Nicky Dangles. Nicky Dangles the King of Apes, and he tries to move that puck down low to Villapoika and does. Villapoika back to the point to Domi. Domi on the hash marks, banks that and gets it behind the net. Good job there by Granite Gaming to take the puck right back, and a saucer pass over to the Lemenin. He drops that one behind the net, and Granite Gaming goes to work, and that one goes all the way back down, as that was a bit of a scary pass, Brandon, and it had some heat on it.
Yeah, the old rubber band puck there kind of went from one side to the other, and usually those don't pose too much of a threat, but maybe the ref kind of took a little bit of a stoppage there for a quick second, but nevertheless, how about hREDS there, Tegan? It was a pretty tight game, a lot of neutral zone trapping, a lot of defense being played. hREDS able to get on that power play, and it did not take them long to get it in, get something going, and capitalize. And you can tell that on the time on attack especially.
Yeah, one thing I believe that hREDS loves to do is work it back to the point, and they love to go D to D with the one-timers and get the goaltender moving, and it's very successful for them in the power play, Brandon.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these elite teams are so good at doing. When we talk about offense, the first thing that typically comes to mind are the three forwards, but these elite teams know how to implement that defense, whether it be the defense stepping up every few plays like we see King of Apes and Domi do a lot, or if it's just getting that cycle going and implementing the defense to get a few shots on that, get the passes, working to the points to open up that space for a few other opportunities for your teammates. hREDS so good at that. It's the reason they are so potent offensively. They showed you why on that power play there.
As the puck is dumped in, you see your respective lineups in the bottom corners, and we get an early game goal from hREDS to make this a 1-0 lead here, Brendan. As puck is going to be moved out here by Granite Gaming. Furion tries to put that one through the middle to Ekin, but Domi takes it right back and sends it all the way down. This might go far enough for icing. It doesn't. And hREDS probably loves that as they forward check in the offensive zone now. Puck behind the net. Granite Gaming trying to get it out of their zone. They go back to Furion, around to Lemenin. Back to Furion. Furion sauces that one ahead. It's going to be picked off by Antonio Manin, who eventually gets it to Ekin, but it's poked off at the line. Here comes Domi. Domi to Nicky Dangles. Nicky Dangles toe drags, and it ends up behind the net. There's King of Apes. King of Apes goes D to D, but they give it away to Ekin, and that's not the guy you want to give it away to. Is Ekin coming down? What a move back door. They give it back to him, and it's blocked. What a play that was by Granite Gaming.
And now Granite will get on the power play as well. So we didn't really get to see a lot of their power play there on the first attempt. A lot of it was in the neutral zone. But nevertheless, now another chance for them here. And this time, being down 1-0 could be a big opportunity here for them to tie this game.
Face-off is going to be tied up, but won by hREDS. They just send it down to Granite Gaming territory. Furion up the left-hand side to Ekin, back over to Lemenin. That's poked off. Good play by Villapoika. He's got a step. Villapoika tried to come all the way through. He's poked off by Furion. What a back check by him to help out his goaltender, Roystel. Ekin goes over to Furion. Furion just creeps it over the line, tries to go down the left-hand side to Ekin, and does. Zuvi back to the point. Good pick off by Benito, and he just throws that down with only 20 seconds left here in the power play, Brandon.
Yeah, and how about this trap of hREDS? hREDS parked themselves on that blue line, and it's so hard to break it as a chance here.
It's a breakaway save by Roysto. Villapoika with a shot and a big save again by Roysto. And he's showing up for Granite Gaming, and that is exactly what he's done all playoffs long. Antonio Manin wraps that one in behind the net. It's going to be poked off by Domi. And King of Apes brings it out now. Up the left-hand side, passed into the middle. Furion is going to bring that up for Granite Gaming. Halfway through this hockey game, 1-0. That puck is going to be dumped in, and King of Apes brings it out for hREDS. King of Apes, D to D over to Domi. Moved up to Benito to Villapoika. That's going to be a penalty there, as we'll have a trip call on the play.
Yeah, Granit, they struggled on the power play on their first 2 attempts, but you don't want to play with fire too much if you are hREDS. One thing they did struggle with in the regular season was penalties. They took 116, that was 3rd most in the league, so we'll see if Granit can capitalize here. It could be big for him.
It's off, a skate bounces up, down, and it's all the way down. Puck is going to be brought out by Granit Gaming. Dumped in there, and they chase and get it. Zuvi in the right-hand corner. Pops that one back out to Lemanin. Antonio Manning, he brings it in phase. What a save!
That's probably the best chance we have seen from Granit, not just on their power play attempts, but really all game. Really the first good, high-quality look at phase they've gotten. They're going to need more of that to try to tie this up.
As there's a few shots put on. And it's going to be dumped down here as hREDS doing a good job on the penalty kill. Granit Gaming decides to dump it in left-hand side. It's going to be Ekin. Fires! And that's a great save again by FaZe, and he's just going to hold on to that one.
And I'd expect to see a lot more of that dump play from Granit. They have struggled to break in the neutral zone, to get into the offensive zone. hREDS has been so good on that trap in the neutral zone. Expect Granit to keep dumping that puck to try to get over their head and beat them with their speed.
Good plays. That one gets over to the left-hand side. Shot all the way down. And Granit Gaming, they need a goal here, Brandon. They need something to build on as Furion carries that out to Lemanin. Puck on the right-hand side. Antonio Manning over to Ekin, and he tried to just drive that into phase. That was a great opportunity, Brandon.
Yeah, then that was a big opportunity, and you see Granit starting to buzz a little bit here, Tegan. They're getting things going. We've probably seen the most offensive pressure from them in the past 5 minutes that we have all game.
Puck is going to be brought in here by hREDS. Antonio Manning with a good back check as the right winger tries to get that one ahead. He can't, as hREDS. The forward check on them is just so dangerous, isn't it, Brandon?
Yeah, and that's what's so fun to watch about a team like hREDS. They can throw so many different looks at you. They can trap the fall 5, or they can forecheck and bring along that pressure. So dangerous to play against that if you're Granit.
Puck is wrapped around behind the net. Lemanin goes over to Furion, and that one is going to be poked off as there's that dangerous forward check by hREDS. King of Apes back down low to Benito, and they go D to D once again with that slap shot, Brandon, but Domi can't thread it through. Here's Furion up the left-hand side to Antonio Manning, back to Furion. Furion tried to do a little give-and-go play, but hREDS just sends that down the ice, and that'll take us to our 3rd period.
And Granit might be down 1, but they had some encouraging signs there, especially in the last 5 to 7 minutes of that 2nd period. That 3rd power play was really where it seemed like they were finally able to break through, get in the offensive zone, and start to generate some chances for themselves. hREDS wasn't really allowing them to get into the zone. They were playing that 5-man trap count, parking themselves at the blue line, and it felt like Granit just was not able to break past that. When you saw them adjust, using that dump play, trying to beat them with their speed and get over the heads of hREDS, it looked like it was starting to work for them because they had a lot of chances and were really starting to test FaZe for the first time in this game.
FaZe is showing exactly what you said, Brandon, is his save percentage might not reflect his skill level here in this playoffs.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier he had that 76.67 save percentage, and you have to keep in mind, FaZe, that was 7 points higher in the regular season. This is a guy that usually is around that kind of low to mid 80 save percentage range. This is rather low for him to be at that number. I expect that number to continue to rise. We said that coming in, well, he's proven it right so far through 2 periods.
Definitely has. Is another big save by Roysto. He's doing just that at the other end. Is here we are back in our game number 1 of a best of 7. Top 4 looking for our finals matchup. That puck is going to be wrapped around, and King of Apes has it now. He goes up the left-hand side to Nicky Dangles. Nicky Dangles tried to get that one back. Antonio Manning almost stole that one and was off to the races, but here comes Domi for hREDS. Domi sends that one ahead. It's picked off there by Zuvi, left-hand side to Ekin. Ekin looked over to Antonio Manning, but nobody home, and here comes King of Apes through the neutral zone. Good pass. Puck is going to be shot on. Here it is. As it popped back. score, and none other than Nicky Dangles makes it a 2-0 game.
And you know it will not be long that Nicky Dangles will be held quiet. We hadn't talked about him much so far in this game, but it was only a matter of time till he got himself on the score sheet, and he does so there. And you can see the puck just kind of right at his stick at the right place at the right time. Nothing but an open cage and white mesh for him to shoot at. He did so there, and now hREDS, when it felt like Granit was starting to push back, doubled their lead from 1-0 to 2-0. So now Granit really gonna have to force the issue to get back into this game.
Yeah, they needed 2 goals, Brandon, and they need them quickly. There's only 16 minutes left here in this third period.
Yeah, now granted, they're going to have to find some answers here. It's been a little bit of a struggle offensively for them, as we mentioned. So now you have to find an answer, because not only are you trying to chase the game, but you're chasing it more than you were at first. Time not on your side. hREDS able to extend that lead. So now this falls into hREDS' hand. They love to play that trap. When you're up like this 2-0, you can kind of afford to play that game and just do your best at mitigating what your opposition has. Scoring a goal, not of the utmost importance now for the team in red.
Yes, it is hard to get through that sea of red if you're Granit Gaming, isn't it, Brandon?
Yeah, and that's what makes them so good. They only allowed 36 goals throughout the entire regular season, and the reason for that is how stout they are defensively. Not only are they good at that trap, but like we mentioned earlier, they have that ability to forecheck and throw a few different looks at you. It's so hard to play that as an offense, and hREDS is showing that here in this game one.
What a pass ahead as here comes Suvi into the zone, and he almost had an opportunity there. Domi puts that one up the right-hand side to Villapoika. He wraps it back around for King of Apes. King of Apes sends that one ahead, but it's going to be picked off, and here goes Granit Gaming. Furion tried to get that one ahead, but a good pick off by Furion, but he gives it away right onto the stick of Villapoika. Villapoika drops that one back to Benito. D to D, the shot is on, and Villapoika gets it, and he scores!
And now hREDS in firm control of this game from 1-0 to 3-0 in just a matter of a few minutes. And we mentioned how the wingers were going to be huge in this series. Well, Nicky Dangles scored goal 2. Villapoika scores goal 3, the league-leading goal scorer in the regular season, showing why he was right there. And now hREDS really control Granit, gonna have to do a lot, down by 3 with about 10 minutes here to go.
Yeah, and I think this is why hREDS is so dangerous, Brandon, is they just can turn around with the forward check and drive right down your throat. There's a shot from Granit Gaming as that one sails wide. Puck is going to be poked off. Here's Benito. Benito tries to get that one ahead. It's Antonio Manning bringing it out now for Granit Gaming. Antonio into the middle, drops that one for Ekin. Back at the point now is Zuvi's covering. Down low to Ekin to the man, and he fires! And a good save again by FaZe. And he's just going to hold on to that one and swallow it up. Not take any chances here. With about 6 minutes to go. Face off here to the right of FaZe. Furion, face off play, doesn't get through. As that's a great block by King of Apes. Puck is brought ahead by hREDS. The Villapoika down low to Benito, back to the point to King of Apes. Domi, as they move this puck around quickly to hREDS. Benito behind the net, gets that one over to Nicky Dangles to King of Apes. Back to Nicky Dangles. Nicky Dangles, left-hand corner, King of Apes. He's curling at the point. Back to Nicky Dangles, poked off his stick, and hREDS doesn't mind this, do they, Brandon? Just taking their time in the offensive zone and clicking that clock down for Granit.
Yeah, the time is on their side, to say the least, and up 3-0. No need to score another goal. Just play smart, play the possession, and let that time tick down. Granit gets a few chances there, Tegan.
What a save by FaZe as he gets the blocker out. And here comes Nicky Dangles. He's tripped up. And for the last 2 minutes of the hockey game, we are going to see hREDS on the power play, barring a goal here.
And what we saw there, that was an example of something you and me talk about all the time, Tegan. Big saves turning into big goal-scoring opportunities. And hREDS, they might have not been able to increase their lead right there to 4-0, but without those two saves by FaZe, they do not get that power play on the 3-on-1 and on the rush. Just goes to show you how a great goalie that makes saves like that can really turn the side against them, or against their opposition rather, and really get some momentum there.
Puck has tried to be back skated out by Nicky Dangles. He just keeps the puck down low as Domi to Benito. Benito back to Domi. Going to be poked off and brought out as here comes hREDS back into the zone. That one's going to be picked off by Antonio Mann, and good job by King of Apes to step up to get it up to Nicky Dangles. Over to Villapoika. Down low to King of Apes as he's activating into the zone. Might as well have a little fun here, Brandon, with under a minute to go in this 3-0 game. King of Apes brings that puck out here for hREDS. Over to Domi. Good quick feed up to Villapoika. Back to Domi. Down. Villapoika out front for Nicky Dangles, and that shot was blocked. Here's Benito behind the net. He's fighting Antonio Mann, but Antonio takes it up. Gets it up the left-hand side to Ekin. Good back check there by Villapoika, and that one's offside with 17 to go.
Yeah, and obviously, Granit not gonna win this game one, unfortunately, but could be big if they could somehow get a goal here, shorthanded and all, just trying to build some momentum. You still have a game two, a long series to play, so you might concede this one game, but anything you can do to build momentum could help your cause here if you're the away team in Granit Gaming.
Yuck, Nicky Dangles. Oh no, he comes in and does the spinorama self sauce and gets it back to Benito, who just goes backhand shovel shot from the dot. But what a move by Nicky Dangles.
And talk about living to your name. Nicky Dangles with just a beautiful move leading to a beautiful feed over to Benito, who finished that one off. And boy, oh boy, we talked about momentum for Granit. hREDS said, yeah, we're not having that. A fourth goal there for them to end this game.
I was gonna say, Brandon, are these guys, is there an hREDS synchronized swimming team as well? Did you see those three forwards dive at the same time? That was phenomenal stuff. hREDS comes out with a 4-0 victory in style here to take this series with a 1-0 lead for a best of 7, Brandon.
Well, even when they're not actually playing, they still find a way to somehow be perfectly in sync, I guess you could say, Tegan, as a dominant performance really in all phases there for hREDS. And speaking of phases, how about FaZe with a shutout there in this game? Came up with some big saves in that game where Granit could have gotten themselves back in it, but just kind of denied them there. That's his first of the playoffs. He had 8 during the regular season, so hREDS can't ask for much better than what you got from them in that game. One, they were stellar defensively, took advantage of their chances in the offensive zone, and you combine that with FaZe, as we mentioned, making some of the saves he did. Not surprised to see this result here for hREDS, who are the 1 seed for a reason. They showed why they're in that game.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised to see a shutout here from FaZe. After his first series, you knew he was going to come out with a huge answer here. He makes 7 massive saves, Brandon.
Yeah, and something else to note, how about the point totals for hREDS? Every single player getting in on at least 1 point. I didn't get to see it in full there, but I think all of them might have had at least 2 points, if I'm correct. I'd have to double check that to make sure. I don't want to lead anyone wrong, but nevertheless, hREDS just showing why they are who they are, why they have had so much success, and it all started with the defensive efforts, not allowing Granit to establish much in the offensive zone. The 3 big penalty kills that they had, when they had some penalties, it was a 1-goal game or even a tie game, and Granit wasn't able to break through. The defense is what really led this effort for hREDS, and then the offense really took over from that point forward.
So here's the replay I wanted to see, as there's a Nicky Dangles coming in with that gorgeous spinorama self-feed, and he goes back to the point there, or not to the point, so to speak. It was angled there, but to Benito, and that backhand was so nice. And if hREDS can build on that and keep their foot on the gas, they're going to have a pretty easy game too. But I wouldn't take any of that away from Granit Gaming, as they're a very good hockey club.
Yeah, and Granite Gaming, they are a team that usually plays an aggressive style, but it's hard to do that when you're not really able to get anything going or get any momentum going for yourselves. And you have to credit hREDS defensively, as we mentioned, for that. Granite is a team that, even though they didn't have the best performance right there, they are a solid offensive team. They can put goals in and do it in style. And I don't think that's a game that they're really gonna take lightly. I don't think they feel they played their best game. They had a lot of struggles breaking into the offensive zone. I think they're gonna take back, look at that game one, and say, okay, that game is behind us. We cannot play that way, however, again. Make some adjustments based off of their breakout to get into the zone, test phase a little bit more than they did in terms of the frequency, and maybe make this a closer game too, or potentially even steal it for themselves to tie the series.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice for Granite Gaming? Well, we will be back to talk a little bit about this some more after a word from our sponsors.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Lähdetään haastamaan yhdellä yhtä vastaan. Loistava nälkäisen pelaajan ratkaisu, ohi mennään. Luukulla ollaan valmiina. Ja sitten katsotaan, kaikki kestää. Vanhanaikaisella kiekkolapaa, ilmaveivi, klassikko, maali! Wilhelm vei todella komeasti nakkikioskille. Wernerin nakki on loistava vahvistus Wilhelm joukkueelle.
Well, Brandon, there is some delicious looking items on your screen, and we have a delicious game two coming right up.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to top what we saw on our screen just a few seconds ago, but nevertheless, hREDS, they get that 4-0 win. Now they have to build on that. Are you able to replicate the success that you had, especially on the defensive end here in this next game? You know that Granite is really going to come out with a lot of urgency, and they're going to throw a lot of different looks at hREDS this time. I know they're not satisfied with the way they played, and they didn't really get as much offensive pressure as we are used to seeing from them. Look for them to adjust, get a little bit more urgent, maybe even more aggressive than what you would normally see them. hREDS going to have to keep playing the way they're playing to adjust to that.
Yeah, they definitely are going to have to keep doing that, adjusting, playing their game, maybe Granite Gaming, putting hREDS on the back burner a bit, slowing them down on their entries. We know the trap of hREDS is so deadly. So if they are able to get ahead by any means, Brandon, it is a very, very tough thing for Granite Gaming as we get a look at our amazing player cameras here. They're all ready to go once again, Brandon.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point there. It is going to be so huge for Granite to keep hREDS at bay. And in the first period, especially, and in the second as well, I thought they did a rather good job at that. You have to remember, it was 1-0 entering that third period. Then hREDS just seemingly took over in the last 20 minutes of that game. So Granite got some things going for them. They played a solid defensive game, but after a while, if you're not able to sustain that offensive pressure, you let hREDS get a run of their own. Really hard to keep them at bay for only so long. You kind of saw that kind of take over the game there the last 20 minutes. hREDS capitalized on it. Now Granite going to look to avoid that this time around. And in the home uniforms as well, maybe that home ice advantage gives them a little bit of a difference in this one.
Maybe the home ice advantage does in the ECL Elite Semifinals, Brandon. It is game number 2. hREDS, the defending champions, leading the series 1-0. You can find that in the top right-hand corner of your screen. I'm It's King Lime. He is B Major, and we are here with Sports Gamer GG. You see the respective lineups in the bottom of your corners of your screen, and in comes Granite Gaming. Puck is moved across. And Villapoica now. Villapoica back to the point. Good puck movement here by hREDS. King of Apes. King of Apes fires that one on Furion. Trying to get that puck out. Is Granite Gaming in the yellows and hREDS in the white and reds. As here goes Nikki Dangles. Puck behind the net. Here's Lemenin. He dumps that one up, over, and in. Puck is going to be brought into the zone here, Brandon, by hREDS, and this is a very back-and-forth hockey game so far.
Yeah, you saw hREDS attack early. You saw Granit try to counter there at the end, but you can tell hREDS believing right where they left off in game one was a close chance for them there.
Puck is going to be brought out now by Granit Gaming over to the right-hand side. Lemenins grabs that one, and it's going to be offside.
That's a perfect example right there from what we saw from game one. You saw hREDS, they kind of went back, parked themselves at that blue line, and Granit just not able to break it so far. It feels like they haven't found the answers. I thought that dump and chase worked pretty well for them the few times they did it. I would not be shocked they try to go for that a few more times in this game.
Puck is going to be brought out here by hREDS. hREDS bounces that one off the wall. And Granit Gaming trying to get the puck out now as hREDS' forward check, Brandon, is so dangerous as they get the puck right back. Filipoika tries to put that one out front. Lemenin grabs it, and puck is going to be moved out. Here's Antonio Menin. Tried to move that across. Lemenin was bumped hard. And here's Benito. Moves that one down low to Filipoika, looking for the wraparound, and pops out to the point to Domi. Domi, down low to Nicky Dangles. Behind the net, wraparound, and they score!
Wow, what a play there by hREDS, and it all started from what you mentioned there, Tegan, that forecheck, that relentless forecheck that hREDS had there on the defense, or on the offensive end, rather, playing on defense, and it's what they do so well. We saw them utilize that trap to the possession before. Well, this time they switch it up. They throw a completely different look at Granit. They get aggressive. They are in your face and they forecheck. They caused a turnover, capitalized on it offensively, and who else but Nicky Dangles to cap it off with a goal.
There's King of Apes moving that puck through. It's going to be on the stick of Domi now. Domi. Here's that one in the right-hand side. Filipoika, Nicky Dangles, and that puck squeezes through, and it's going to be held on by Roysto.
Yeah, and they're really going to need Roysto to step up big here now. I think he's had a solid couple of games here, even if things haven't necessarily gone Granit's way. He's made some big saves. Granit just needs to give him a little bit of help, put some goals in the net. They can do that. They might get themselves back in this one.
Domi, over to Furion. Puck is going to be wrapped down low to Antonio Menin. Furion claps that one on. Puck on the left-hand side is Ekin. Ekin down to Antonio Menin. He's stripped of the puck, and it's going to be carried out here, Brandon, and back all the way down to Granit Gaming territory. Here's Furion bringing it out. Lemenin. Over to Zuvi. Zuvi tries to put that one down low. Good interception by Domi, sending Filipoika up the right-hand side. Filipoika dropped that one back to King of Apes, but it was stolen by Zuvi. Here's Lemenin. Gets that puck up the right-hand side. Ekin is there, but he's fought by Nicky Dangles, who gives that one away to Zuvi, but a good bump. Taking it away as Filipoika looks for a pass out front. Nobody home. Domi sends that one down low, wraps it all the way around. Furion now up to Ekin, back to Furion. Furion to Ekin, over to Lemenin. As he comes over the line, he's offside.
Yeah, and this has been a dominant 19 minutes here for hREDS, whether it be on offense or defense. It just feels like they are all over things and really controlling this game. Granted, gonna have to find a response here. They've been held scoreless through almost 4 periods. If they cannot get something going, you cannot like their chances with the way hREDS is playing on the other side.
Puck is going to be brought in. Lemenin at the line. Gets it down low to Ekin. He fires, and a good save by FaZe. Puck brought out again. Granit Gaming trying to put the puck on and can't. And that does it for period number 1. And we'll go to the intermission, Brandon.
Maybe a little spark there at the end for Granit. You saw them get a couple of chances, probably their best chances of the first period there in the last 10 seconds of the period. But hREDS, the story of that period 1, just really all over, whether it be on the trap in the neutral zone or forechecking in their own offensive end and causing that turnover for the early goal. Just feels like they're controlling the way this game has gone and really just dictating the flow of things. It just kind of feels like Granit not comfortable in this game, while hREDS, we're just kind of doing and playing the way that they want to so far.
There's that gorgeous wraparound play, Brandon, and didn't that ever work well? We see that all the time. Little give and go play behind the net. It gets that, or allows that player that's going behind the net to get a bit of speed and just put it in.
Yeah, and it feels like that's been a common trend in NHL 22 especially. It's been a long time since the wrap has been that prevalent. You didn't really see a lot of teams use the wrap and score at such a success rate that they have this season. That was more or less back in NHL 17 and 18 where teams scored on wrap plays like that, but it seems like teams have really learned how to utilize that a lot. It feels like it's almost been a bit of a meta of a way to score when you're behind the net in this game so far.
Here's Furion bringing in down low to Antonio Mannin. Looking for Zuvi. He's battling Domi back there, and Domi wins that battle, sends it back, but it's going to be picked off at the point there by Furion. Antonio Mannin with a shot and phase with a big save again. Villapoica tried to get that one ahead to Nicky Dangles, but it's turned over by Furion. But Nicky Dangles with a good interception, and he draws a penalty on that play. Villapoica back to King of Apes, over to Domi. Domi down low to Nicky Dangles, back to Domi, King of Apes. Benito fires, and that one's blocked and wide, and we'll see a power play for hREDS.
This is a big PK here for Granit. You cannot afford to go down 2-0 against an hREDS team, especially with how stout they have been on the defensive end. So now for Granit, you have to emphasize on staying and putting down your ground here on your own end, clearing it out, not giving hREDS anything easy. Big 2 minutes here for the team in yellow.
Face-off is won, and Lemenin just drops that one out and gets it down into hRED territory. Here comes King of Apes on the breako, goes to Domi, over to Villapoica, back to Domi, King of Apes, back to Domi. Villapoica, Domi, King of Apes fires, and what a save by Roysto. Puck behind the net now is picked up by Villapoica. He looks back for King of Apes and finds him over to Domi. Domi, I assume he go back to King of Apes. He does. Benito fires, and backdoor was Nicky Dangles and Villapoica waiting for that one to pop out.
Yeah, and if that pops out, I think we're talking about a 2-0 hREDS lead right now. A great job from Roysto just being in position, and his goalie just kind of putting his glove over that one, not allowing the rebound chance for hREDS.
Nicky Dangles moves that back to the point here to Domi. Domi fired that one on. It's going to be picked back up by Domi at the point. Domi, King of Apes, fires, big blocker saved by Roysto, and Domi comes down and scoops it back up to Villapoica. Villapoica has it poked off his stick. He's battling for it. He rings it around to King of Apes. King of Apes comes down looking for a cut play, but a good defensive play by Furion, and he brings the puck out for Granit Gaming. Antonio Mannin over to the left-hand side. Zuvi missed that pass, and King of Apes scoops it up for hREDS, and here he goes out of the zone. King of Apes. Good passing here is Benito in the middle. Looks for a toe drag that's poked off his stick. And here comes Antonio Mannin. Tried to sauce that one out of the zone. Couldn't do it. As Nicky Dangles goes between the legs. Benito tried to fire. I believe that one went off a skate, Brandon, and all the way back down to hREDS territory.
Yeah, and if Granit can come back and tie this game, remember that penalty kill. Roysto with multiple big saves there could be huge if they can tie this game and get this at 1-1.
Here comes Furion over on the right-hand side, poked off his stick. And that one's going to be brought in offside with 9 minutes to go here in the second period.
Yeah, and maybe things getting a little chippy on the ice there, but it kind of feels like deja vu of game one, doesn't it, Teague? And hREDS gets that first period lead, and then the second period, things kind of slow down, they stagnate a little bit. Granted, doing a good job defensively. Now the question is, can they break through and find a goal here in this game?
Here's hREDS in the offensive zone. King of Apes back down low to Benito. It goes through him. And a good pickup in front by Villapoica, who fires, and Roysto was ready for that one. And it's going to end up in a power play here for Granit Gaming.
It's a big chance here for Granit. Not only do you get a power play, but you get a key component off the ice in Villapoica for hREDS, so a little bit of that scoring punch goes off the ice for 2 minutes, but this is a big power play for Granit. Gotta capitalize after you went 0 for 3 on the power play in game one.
A tie-up is going to be won and dumped out by King of Apes, and it's all the way back down into Granit's zone. Zuvi poked off his stick is Benito. Even on the PK, hREDS is forward-checking here, Brandon. And in a one-goal game, it goes to show you how aggressive and offensive they are. It's Furion Brings that one through the neutral zone. They try the jump and chase into the right-hand corner. Antonio Manin picked that up like it was a pop fly. Popped it around, and they go D to D. Lemanin, no, that one's given away to Benito, and Benito comes down with speed. He just sauces that one into the right-hand corner. Nicky Dangles. I believe he did take a hooking penalty there, and that's where the aggression comes out, isn't it, Brandon?
Yeah, it costs a 5-on-3. It's always good to be aggressive, but sometimes it can come back to bite you. You mistime that poke check or that stick lift by just a few mere seconds. It can end up in a costly penalty, as it will here. A big power play for Granit. They might not get the 5-on-3, but they do get another 2 minutes with that strong man advantage, so to speak, as it was a tripping there, I believe, on Nicky Dangles.
Yeah, they don't call him Nicky Trips. They call him Nicky Dangles. He's good at dangling, but he gets caught loose there. Big tie-up play is going to be taken out here by King of Apes. He just regroups in his own zone and dumps that one all the way down. Lemanin coming out for Granit Gaming. He just dumps that one and tells the boys to go get it. It's going to be picked up by King of Apes. He goes behind the net to his partner, Domi. Oh, he gets lucky as that one popped onto Villapoint's stick, and Benito just chucks it all the way down. About 45 seconds left here on the power play. Puck is going to be brought out over to the right-hand side, and it's offside with 3:08 to go in the second period.
Yeah, this has not been an ideal power play or two here for Granit. They have no shots on the first one, no shots so far on the second attempt, and you really have to credit hREDS. They've been so good on the penalty kill all season long, despite the penalties they've taken. That has translated so far in the playoffs.
Here's Zuvi. Nice little move as he almost got by both defenders, but got caught up. Here's Zuvi. Back to the point to Lemanin, back to Zuvi in front. It goes off a pad and back to Lemanin. Lemanin curls at the point. Shot is on, and that was a good save again by FaZe. Zuvi moves that into the middle. Nicky Dangles just kind of chucks that one out, and they get their man back, and it is 5-on-5, 6v6 hockey, as we hear that one all the time from our good friend, Nick F5 Penguin. Antonio Manin tries to get that one in deep. It's going to be brought out here by hREDS. Villapoica now. Down to Nicky Dangles. Nicky Dangles out front for Benito, and that shot is blocked and wide.
And that was a big near chance there for hREDS. Almost made this a 2-0 game, but similar to game one, we will enter the third period with a 1-0 hREDS lead. And wow, for Granit, you really got a feel for them. They've had a lot of power play chances in these two games. They went 0 for 3 in game one. They're 0 for 2 so far in game two. So you know they're going to look back and kind of look at some of those chances like, man, could we have just scored on one of those? Where will we be so far in this game, or maybe even in this series? Only 3 shots on net, 334 time on attack. Not ideal with a team like hREDS that really can turn it on offensively.
Brandon, you're absolutely right. This is not the team that you want to be down against. This one goal looks like 5. They're just so aggressive in the offensive zone. So, game number 2, ECL Elite Semifinals. hREDS Granit Gaming. We are going to get started. Period number 3. The series is 1-0 hREDS. The game is 1-0 hREDS. Your lineups are in your bottom corners, and we are ready to go here on Sports Gamer GG. Puck back to Domi. Domi curls on the point, goes back to Villapoica. Nicky Dangles has it down below the goal line. He gets that one to Benito. Benito tries to fire one from the left-hand side, but that's a good save. And Zuvi gets it back to Furion and up to Antonio Manin. Here's Lemanin. Hit his center standing still there, Brandon. So Lemanin's going to have to take it back to Furion and carry it through the other way. Furion. Good pass to Zuvi, but there it is, Brandon. We talk about it so much. The trap of hREDS is just so dangerous, and here they come into the zone. Back to King of Apes. He's sliding into that position, but it draws the 3-on-1 for Granit Gaming. Here comes Ek, and he can't get by. None other Nicky Dangles, but he gets rocked by Furion. Zuvi tried to get one through, but here goes Nicky Dangles. After taking a big hit, he spins around Lemanin, but a good poke check as we get some furious action here As Ekin coming down now to Antonio Madden. He goes even further back to the point, and it's D2D over to Furion. Furion looking for a cut play, down low to Zuvi. Zuvi trying to back skate out once again, but he's caught up behind the net from Domi. And that puck's going to be carried out here by Benito over to Domi. Domi ahead to Nicky Dangles on the break in, but they met him with a good play, but it's right back to Nicky Dangles. He sauces it through. It goes all the way through to King of Apes. He was looking for Benito. Nicky Dangles back over to Benito. Benito, Nicky Dangles now. Back to the point to Domi. Domi to Villapoica, and this is where hREDS are so dangerous. They can make something out of nothing so quickly. As there it is, as the shot comes from the point, and it's just as dangerous from a close quarter.
Well, the second period slowed down a little bit, but the third period, plenty of pace through the first 10 minutes. Granted, with a few chances, hREDS sets up shop in the zone and gets a few chances for themselves. This has really picked up. I would not be shocked if one of these teams score here soon.
Menon tries to bring that puck out. He's fought by Nicky Dangles and pops out to Antonio Menon, trying to get that ahead to Zuvi, but a good job on the back check there was Benito, as he's been a very good 200-foot center in this hockey game. Domi, King of Apes, back to Domi. And he doesn't like what he sees. He's going to reset. Gets that one ahead in a quick reset to Villapoica. Nicky Dangles as that one slides through the middle. Here's Benito, back to King of Apes, Domi. King of Apes fires. Nicky Dangles just hopped over that one, was probably hoping for a tip. Here comes Granit Gaming through the neutral zone. Good pass over to Zuvi, but he's poke-checked off there by Benito, and Benito's been so good, and here he comes again, all alone. He scores on the backhand.
And good offense starting from good defense there for hREDS, and I know it's almost like beating a dead horse in a sense, and I know the narrative can get a little tiring to hear sometimes, but it's hard to overstate how big the trap has made for hREDS in having this lead and having this series lead. Granted, trying to break through the zone, they've struggled with it all game long, all series long, and once again, hREDS causing that turnover to the blue line, turning it into a chance, and Benito on the breakaway capitalizes. And now, Tegan, we're at that point now for Granit. We talked about, don't want to go down too far against hREDS. 2-0 now, really an uphill battle for the team in yellow.
Want some more?
Nicky Dangles with it down low, tried to get back to the point. His now hREDS up by 2, and all 5 bodies back on the back check as that one shot on and saved by FaZe. Another poke check off by hREDS. Antonio Madden with a shot point blank, and FaZe comes up big.
As great as the defense has been for hREDS, you have to give FaZe a lot of credit. He's been sharp and all over some of the chances that Granit have earned themselves, not giving them anything easy throughout these 5 periods.
Puck is going to be brought up and sent up to Villapoica on the stick of Nicky Dangles. Look back for the Poica, and it's just pushed back to Roysto. And both goaltenders in this game have been very good, Brandon. You can't take anything away from Roysto.
Yeah, Roysto has been really solid, really in both games. We kind of gave him a little tip of the cap earlier because obviously you lose 4-0. You kind of look at the goalie like, man, you could have saved a few of those. But really, not a lot that Roysto could have done about any of these goals. hREDS have done a great job of creating really high-quality opportunities for themselves. And there's only so much you can do as a goalie. Roysto has been phenomenal in these 2 games. And really, it's unfortunate for him that the result's not going to go his way more than likely in Game 2 either.
There's a block and a big save there by FaZe again. A statement save, if you will. As King of Apes tries to bring that one in. He's stuffed at the line, and Furion brings it out for Granit Gaming. Over to the right-hand side to Antonio Madden, picked up by Nicky Dangles over to King of Apes. King of Apes sauces that one ahead, picked up by Lemanin. And Lemanin takes that ahead, over to Antonio Madden. King of Apes now gets that one ahead to Villapoica. It's poked off his stick, and here goes Antonio Madden. King of Apes with the penalty there as they come in offside.
Yeah, unfortunate penalty there for hREDS. I don't think you worry too much. You have the 2-0 lead. There's about 33 seconds to go in the game, so I don't think you're really too concerned about the penalty. Obviously, you don't want to give Granit any chances. We know they can score and score in a hurry, but the way that hREDS has been on the PK, I don't think that they're overly concerned here about this opportunity.
Face-off is one back with a quick little face-off play, but it didn't get through. Here's Lemanin, backdoor to Ekin, and robbed was he by FaZe. Lemanin tries to put one in, he's robbed again by FaZe. Puck in the right-hand corner. Zuvi out front. Antonio Manning is robbed by FaZe, and I'm going to be saying that in my sleep. As FaZe, with 6 perfect periods to take hREDS to a 2-0 victory in the game and a 2-0 series lead, Brandon.
You know, Tegan, based off of that last 33 seconds, I get a hunch that FaZe wanted that shutout. I mean, I don't know what gives me that idea. Maybe it was the 4 spectacular saves in the same sequence, but I think he might have wanted that shutout there to end this game. And what a job by FaZe adding a few for the highlight reel there at the end. But the result is what matters most. The win is what matters most. hREDS does it not once, but twice in this game. 4-0 in the first game, 2-0 in the second. A spectacular performance all around the board from hREDS in this game.
And speaking of that, hREDS, Brandon, is not lost in playoffs. They are 6 wins in a row and carrying, and that has to be a little scary if you're Granit Gaming on the other side of the board.
Yeah, especially being down 2-0, because now you have to win 4 of the next 6 games to move on, and it's not often you see hREDS lose 4 out of 6 games, so it's definitely an uphill battle here for Granit. If there's any team that can do it, well, they're definitely in the conversation of those teams that have that chance, but it's just so difficult to get in a hole like that against a team like hREDS. So for them to get the first 2 games of the series, absolutely huge. And you said it, Tegan, just continuing that playoff dominance we've seen from them all playoffs long. They won all of their games via sweep against Goons. Even if all of them were 1-goal games, they kept Goons to 2 goals or less in every single one of those games. They keep that going here, and this time they got it in 2 shutouts as well. So they carry not just the momentum, but they can say, you haven't scored against us yet, Granit. You guys have yet to find the net. So really just a stellar performance all the way around from hREDS, and Granit going to take the next day to hopefully find some answers and to adjust here to try to get back in the series.
Yeah, Brandon, that was an amazing couple of games on our hands. And how about the goaltending of FaZe, but the forwards of hREDS who actually came out? We were expecting the defense to be very offensive, but it was Benito Villapuica and Nicky Dangles that were just phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's what makes this team at hREDS so special, and it's what really separates the upper echelon teams from some of the other teams here in the NHL community, is that when you have all 5 guys that are cohesive and really playing to that high level, anyone can step up at any given point. You look at that hREDS lineup, and we did talk about the defense of Domi and King of Apes, how they would really look to shut down this Granit group, but you saw on a lot of those defensive stops, it was all 5 guys in the neutral zone just setting up shop at that blue line and not allowing Granit to get past them, and it created a lot of turnovers. It turned into a lot of opportunities, and 2 or 3 of the goals that hREDS scored came off of turnovers from that trap, and even a few of them from the forecheck of the forwards of hREDS. So it just goes to show you, it takes a 5-man unit to really make a dominant team and to really play that true elite hockey that every team strives for. hREDS put on a masterclass in those 2 games, and if you were looking to improve and trying to see how you can implement some of those games, well, those are 2 of the games that you definitely want to watch right there from hREDS. Just spectacular job from them all around the board from all 6 guys.
Yeah, congratulations to hREDS. So they take the first 2 games in this best-of-7 series 2-0 against Granit Gaming. We got to see great goaltending, and we're going to see great goaltending in this next battle as well. We're going to get a quick word from our sponsors, have a short little break, and we'll be back with FBK against Verlun.